It is Wednesday, the 23rd day of April, 2025, and I am back after what amounted to being sort of an unintended absence. Um, this whole working for a living thing is just, I don't know, I need to find a way out. But here I am, a couple weeks later, back and ready to talk about nothing important. And then the Pope died. That's right, Pope Frank passed away Monday morning. Early Monday morning due to lung disease. A shame, really. Of all the popes I've known, Frank has seemed to be the least weird. Granted, there have only been three popes during my entire lifetime, but Frank stood out as being quote unquote normal, unlike Pope Benny, who resigned in 2013. Yeah, resigned. Honestly, like what sort of like weird nonsense was afoot for Pope Benedict to just be like, yeah, you know what? I'm all set. I'm old now. I'm done. And I had to do a bit of a deep dive into popes, which is just a funny word. The word pope is funny. I don't know why. It had been roughly 600 years since a pope resigned. 600. That is 600. That is, roughly more than double the age of the United States of America. If we want to get technical, it's even more than that. And it was the first time that a pope had resigned without pressure to resign since the year 1294. 1294. 719 years ago. How often do you sit and just think of 719 years ago? You don't. You don't. And not just like in a um like a religious way, right? I mean, if you go to church and you're religious, obviously you're going to think about Jesus and 2,500 years ago, maybe, who knows, or 2,500. Fuck, you're an idiot. 2025 years ago. But like, just it's that weird sort of middle ground between, I don't know, Jesus and today. The 1200s, the 1300s, shit like that. And then it's you sort of juxtapose that with the big thing here in the area over the weekend was the 250th anniversary of um, Lexington and Concord and the start of the American Revolution, only being 250 years ago. Look, I understand that the USA, the good old US of A, the greatest country in the world, is a baby in comparison to most of the planet. But when I read that, the first pope to resign without pressure since 1294, Pope Benedict back in 2013. And I feel bad for talking about Pope Benedict because, quite frankly, he was a fucking weirdo. But I mean, in the grand scheme of popes, they're supposed to be pope until they die. But PJP, Pope John Paul, uh, I don't think he was weird. It just, he never struck me as someone who spoke. And then he, looked the other way often. So that wasn't good, as did Pope Benny. But look, you need to humanize these. They're weird people. Like, let's be honest, they're weird. Like, they've devoted their life to a something that they don't know with certainty actually exists. existed, whatever. So in that regard, it's very strange. And then to be sort of looked upon as the head of an entire group of people. Like, you can't even call it, you can't say head of a religion. I guess you could, but like the head of the head of the head of the table. I don't know, it's weird. Religion to me is strange in and of itself, and I'm not smart enough to like really dive into it all that much. I just know what I know personally, which is very little, and then I just find the whole thing strange. Anyways, I'm way off topic, but Frank, came in, restored a bit of whatever normality there could possibly be to the papacy, whatever, he played it straight, held it down until Easter Sunday, and in a bold reverse Jesus move, went out within the 3-day window. Oh, actually, after the 3-day window. See what I mean? Yeah. We'll get a conclave soon. That was a big topic at the office yesterday. It was really funny, having these discussions with, kids in their 20s talking about popes and the conclave and all this, happy horse shit. Surprisingly, some knowledge there, which was a bit, I was taken aback by, but whatever. The pomp, the circumstance, the white smoke, whenever a new pope is elected. And then once that's done, the world can go back to being shitty again, right? I think it's time for a black pope, though. I think that would really freak a lot of people out. But I need a black pope that speaks proper English. No, I shouldn't say proper. That's not the right term. Good English. And I only say that because I need a black pope to shit on the fake Christians, fake Catholics, fake sort of religious people that are in this country and tell them to shut the fuck up. Like, I just need a black pope to tell Marjorie Taylor Greene that she's a fucking cunt. Like, I don't think that's going to happen, but, maybe you could do it in a nice, proper religious way. Even though that she has zero ties to the pope, she's done. She's not Catholic. She's a cunt. So who knows what she worships, but, she's such a fucking lousy human being. Lousy. I don't care what side of the aisle you are on. There is no way you could possibly look at that woman and say, boy, she's a great representative of the public. There's no fucking way possible. And if you feel that she is a solid representation of America, please turn off whatever device you're listening to this god awful program on, and then tie 2 cinder blocks to your feet and take a slow walk off the Tobin Bridge. It's a touch extreme on my part. But, if I told you that Jesus was at the bottom of that fucking river, would you do it? If you love Marjorie Taylor Greene, that's so bad. I don't really mean that. Anyway, Black Pope, let's fucking go. A lot more to get to today, including a big WrestleMania recap. I have voicemails, I have text messages, I have a brief Masters recap, soccer, snack foods, the draft, advertising, and then 3 gripes. I hope you don't have anywhere to be for the next 90 plus minutes because this is already shaping up to be lengthy as I'm like 10 minutes into the open, which doesn't happen usually, but I don't really give a fuck. Sit back, relax, and strap on your seat belts. You've been on a ride like this before, and it's usually terrible, so it's almost like that old dragon roller coaster in King's Castle Land, which scarred me for life. Episode number 184 of Complaints and Observations.
Still, a voyage into the mundane and an exercise in futility, swimming in the absurd, while drowning in unearned self-importance. Entirely unworthy of your time. It is the world's worst podcast. This is Complaints and Observations with Dave LaPointe. Who the hell is Dave LaPointe?
I think he's a bum. I think he's an absolute bum.
All right, what's up? Happy Wednesday. Hope all is well. Hope you've been well. Yeah, that's about it. Hopes. I just, I need something that kind of disrupts the norm. That's why I think a black pope would be great. Apparently there are some odds out there for the next pope, which again, like I don't know why I find the word pope so funny, but I just think it's a funny word. And there are two, like in the top 5, there are 2 black popes. One's from Ghana, another one is from I can't remember where the other guy's from. But apparently they are like super conservative popes or bishops or cardinals or whatever the fuck they are. And so they would be basically the opposite of Pope Frank, where Pope Frank was very liberal and very like, accepting of everyone, kind of like, I don't know, Jesus. So I'm curious to see how this plays out. But on the back of the Pope's death, we do have John Cena ascending past the right hand of Flair and into his rightful place as the greatest of all time by winning his 17th world title Sunday night in a pretty shitty match at WrestleMania 41. Now, look, overall, in my opinion, I felt that the show was a success. If you spent any time on the internet in the wrestling realm of the internet, one, you're going to hate yourself after a solid 10 minutes because boy oh boy, is that a fucking toxic place to be. It's just a bunch of you know, one, it's a bunch of marks. 2, it's just a bunch of like pathetic fanboys and fangirls who are just so over the top. And look, I've said this 1,000 times. I love professional wrestling. I love it. But I can't. I can't bring myself to do and to act the way that some people do about this. One, because it's entirely scripted. Like it's a drama. It's a comedy. Like I loved Seinfeld. Okay, but you know what? I don't have like an entire room filled with Seinfeld memorabilia. I just don't. And look, I have a reasonable amount of I shouldn't say that. No, I don't have a reasonable amount of wrestling shit. I have a handful of things. That's it. But the broadcast palace is filled with a bunch of other crap. Sports related crap, booze, like stuff that I like. It's just, it's a wide ranging stuff. There's a lot of things that I enjoy. And I was reading some recaps yesterday in preparation for today's banger of a program. And I started going back and watching some like watch along videos, and I'm like, fucking hell, these people are angry or like crying in some cases. And I'm like, oh my God, that's not it's not I don't want to say it's not okay because look, you do you, okay? And I've said this 1,000 times. I'm not going to begrudge someone for being obsessed fanatical, if you will. But boy, oh boy, just crazy. I mean, and it was a fun little experiment, I must say, and I enjoyed it. And I might revisit it every now and again just to make myself feel a little bit better. And here I am, right? Here I am standing on my soapbox and my high horse and all kinds of other shit, thinking that I'm somehow better than any of these people when in fact I am not. I'm like not even close. Not the point. Anyways, I got way off topic. I thought overall the two nights were successful. There was a lot of ups and downs. Like it's like Flair's Space Mountain, up and down, up and down, up and down. Best matches of the weekend, in my opinion, the Intercontinental title match that led off Sunday, the women's title match that was number two on Sunday, and then I was kind of debating, like going back and forth as to what you know I thought the third best match was, and I went with the Sin City Street Fight with McIntyre and Priest. The IC bout, first and foremost, like the fact that Mysterio won the title, you could kind of feel that coming, and you could kind of get a good sense that that's how the story was going to play out. I thought the finish was excellent, like that. The frog splash on Finn Balor to win, perfect. That was great. But I mean, like, there was a lot here that then led to Monday night, and it was like the whole Steiner losing. And look, I'm not gonna call this kid Braun Breaker anymore because it's fucking terrible. Just call him Steiner. Call him Braun Steiner. It's his fucking name. Well, kind of his name. His real name is terrible. It's like Reich Steiner or Riken Steiner. I can't remember which it is, but like you keep saying that it's Rick Steiner's kid and Scott Steiner's nephew. He does the Frankensteiner. Just fucking call him Steiner and get it over with. I understand breaking into the business. You don't want to have that attached to you because you want to, be successful on your own merit. He's there. He's there. Drop the Braun Breaker crap. Get him some new music too, because this fucking intro music blows. Yeah, but good grief. So I don't hate Mysterio. I think he's good at what he does. He's oddly slow, which is weird. Like when he tries to do the 619, like when he just looks, I don't know, he looks oddly slow, which I find strange. But at the same time, I think the whole act between him and Liv Morgan is kind of slowed a bit because it's just so not it's not a relationship, like they're not together, but they have to, it's just awkward and it looks awkward and it feels awkward, yet they keep going with it, you know? And I don't know, it's probably awkward for one of them. I don't know who, but it's faker than fucking Tiffy's tits, for Christ's sakes. And it's blatantly fake. And everybody who has watched the program consistently over the last year can see, obviously, just like the one, but here's the other thing too. Why are they making Dominic Mysterio like some kind of Lothario? Like this is twice now. So is this how this is going to go with him throughout his career? Like just give him a valet, give him a manager, and like call it a day, right? You don't need this faux relationship nonsense. This is the part of wrestling that I can't stand is like the fake relationship stuff. The ones that are actual relationships, you can write that so that it's good. This ain't it. So find a new tact. But again, what the fuck do I know? Very little. So I enjoyed that. I thought all around it was good. Everybody involved was very good, enjoyable. The second one, the women's world title match, Io Sky, Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley. Boy, I had to really fucking plumb the old brain to remember names. Ugh. And the way that they've built this was good. I mean, you had to have Rhea involved in this thing because you did. Like you couldn't leave her out because where would she go within the storyline if she was not going to fit into this match? There was no place for her to go. So, the build-up was a little weird. They could have, announced the triple threat sooner, I think, to allow for even more build. But I think they had just enough so that when it came time to the match, you could feel that there was a little bit of tension there amongst all three of them, which was nice. The way that they've used Io Sky, I think, has been very good, kind of making her almost like the outsider or the outlier, I should say, of the three. And yet she's the one that ends up winning the match and retaining the titles. Like, holy smokes. Good surprise. That was a good surprise, enjoyable surprise. But throughout the match, I thought everybody did a great job. I just thought it was so well done, which you don't see often in women's matches, and no fault of their own. Like sometimes like some of these girls that are just very, very small, and you have to like suspend belief. Like, um, Lyra Valkyria, that poor kid is tiny. She's tiny, and she's quick, but she's not quick enough to like compensate for the fact that she's not gonna take out Raquel Rodriguez like she did on Monday and it was like, oof, boy, just doesn't look right. But again, what do I know? And then the third one, like I talked about, was the Sin City Street fight. Here's the thing: I love Drew McIntyre. I think this dude is so woefully booked. Like the guy has main event chops in the ring, on the mic. Like he's funny, he's engaging, he's good in the ring. And for some reason, they just keep they could have built out a whole fucking McIntyre versus everybody storyline, right? And it could have not culminated in WrestleMania, but just kept going. Where he kicks the shit out of the bloodline, maybe loses at Mania to somebody. Like him and Roman Reigns, I thought would have been a good revisit to their previous feud. And I thought it would have been great, like, had he lost to Reigns, yet, continued to try to beat the shit out of everybody in the old bloodline. And then anytime anybody like got his way, he would fucking beat the shit out of them and fight. It could have been that, right? They didn't have to make it like a Bill Goldberg 99-0 or whatever. I mean, you could have had him lost along the way, but constantly just taking out different people along the way. And it would have been a cool storyline. But again, what do I know? By the end of this one, I thought both him and Priest looked good. They left looking good. Neither one of them looked weak. Priest looked okay even in defeat. And so I'm curious to see if this is like the end or if they're going to try to, extend it. But, I'm prepared to be disappointed in whatever route they send Drew McIntyre on because, you know, that's how it goes. This is, when you don't edit shit and you have to answer text messages from your mother because there's a leak under her sink in the middle of your program, she's fine. But yeah, I'm prepared to be disappointed. And I was kind of here's what I didn't understand about the whole night, right? The audio on the show, not good, because you could not feel what I've been told was a fantastic crowd, right? I'm told that the crowd was great, but I didn't get that sense, right? Because you couldn't tell. and it felt like the crowd was kind of dead. Now Saturday night, you could see it. You could see that it was kind of dead because there were a shitload of empty seats. An absolutely fucking stupid decision from WWE to like have that fucking annoying drone all over the place all weekend long. Like I'm sure there was an ad on it, which I'm gonna get to in a bit. But like, the thing's flying over and you've got these giant gaps on the floor and empty seats on the floor. Now look, I'm sure that the people that bought those seats were actually there, but they weren't there. They weren't in their seat. And it just made it look fucking terrible. Sunday was much better. But and then the same Monday night during Raw, like the audio was terrible. You didn't get the sense that it was a good crowd. Yet again, I'm sure it was. I mean, there was a lot Monday night, like a lot of sort of starting storylines and getting things like kicked off and revisiting some stuff, but it was a lot of review, a lot of talking about what happened. A lot of there was some weird stuff that went on. I mean, like the whole Randy Orton John Cena thing, you could see coming a mile away because they're doing Backlash in St. Louis. Randy Orton's from St. Louis. The way that this storyline with John Cena is going to go is he's just going to fight a bunch of dudes every month, uh, culminating in him losing to someone. I still think it's CM Punk, but we'll see. But it, the way that the show went Monday night felt a little herky jerky, a little sloppy. But I mean, typically the Raw after Mania is usually filled with surprises, new stuff, uh, returns, and there was one. Rusev coming back was fucking cool. I thought he was gonna come back. I thought he was gonna fight Randy Orton at Mania and make it an actual match, but good pop for Joe Hendry, which was nice to see. I really, really hope they use him. Like the whole TNA thing is one thing, but I think you almost have to have him keep the TNA title and wrestle in WWE, but I don't want to see him lose constantly. It would kind of defeat the whole purpose of the title. Now, granted, it's TNA, but that's not the point. Point is, he's still the champion, so he should be treated as such. But Rusev coming back in the middle of like a weird, not even a tag match. I don't even think the match had started, and then all of a sudden, Rusev's music hits, comes out, beats the shit out of Otis and Tozawa, while the New Day scurries off. Like what? What the fuck was that for? Like that's where you decide to throw him in, unless this is a weekly thing where he shows up in a match that he has no business showing up in and just beats the shit out of people, and then that's it. I can get down with that. Like make him look like a fucking beast. Don't the Rusev Day thing was funny, but he doesn't have to be the funny guy. I don't know. Uh, but I mean the big thing obviously at Mania were the two main events. Um, the Saturday night main event was very good. That was probably like a 3B for me in terms of like the match itself. The finish though, A plus plus. Loved the finish. Like Paul Heyman turning on everybody was great. Like siding with Seth Rollins, that was great. Bit of a curveball there, but a fun curveball. And then going into Monday, where he is reigniting hopefully the Dangerous Alliance, which was the old, Paul Heyman led clique back in the day. Rollins, Steiner needs a third guy. Needs a third guy, or maybe they go with a gal. Maybe Becky Lynch because she turned kind of. on Monday. 1 day title reign as tag team champs, and now she's going to be chasing the women's intercontinental title. Yeah, that'd be fun. Becky Lynch, Seth Rollins, Steiner. And I mean, they're on different shows, I think, technically, which doesn't help, but who the fuck cares, right? Different shows, blah. But Punk and Reigns kind of getting their ass beat. Like, I'm very, very interested and curious to see how they proceed with this. Like, what are they going to do? How do they make them not look like shit again? I don't know. And then the main event Sunday. Like, you knew Cena was going to win the match, right? That was a given. But the way that they set it up, and here's the thing that I've read on the internet that I do not disagree with at all. Where the fuck was The Rock? Like, beginning of the year, we heard all about how fucking, tough Rock was and how John Cena, turned to be, The Rock's guy. The whole thing with The Rock wanting Cody Rhodes sold, that crap. But, like, since then, not a fucking peep. I don't think he was even there. So something smells fishy. Something smells like something happened somewhere along the line. There's a lot of theories, a lot of hypotheses about him not wanting to take a bump, him not wanting to do a job, which is fine because he's quote unquote earned it. Seen as the same way, doesn't want to do the job. I mean, he's gonna have to at the end of the year, be the first time ever. I shouldn't say that, but so The Rock not being there was weird. Like, how do they reintroduce him? Like, either he's persona non grata from here on out, or you have to come up with a very clever way to reintroduce him because you ignored him during the biggest event of the year. Either way, I got an Instagram message from our friend Mike, number one caller. Sent it about 10 o'clock last night. He said, since everyone is asleep, I can't call in. What? Like, go sit in your tiny ass car, Mike, and call in. But then, your whole family's gonna be like, where's Dad? What's he doing? Oh, he's calling that stupid show again. It's probably not even how it is, but I love the fact that someone would get mad at somebody for calling into my dumb fucking show. Anyways, he's like, one party foul right off the bat, so I didn't watch Mania because I don't have Peacock. Dude, get Peacock for WrestleMania. You should only have Peacock. Peacock is good for two things: one, wrestling; two, soccer. That's it. $10 a month. What the fuck? But he did watch Raw, and he says, "quote I really can't get over how much of a tool Cena is." Watching Randy Orton take him down felt like an old rerun. Well, yeah, they're old people. They're not. I mean, look, in the grand scheme of life, they're not that old. John Cena is like just less than a year older than me. I am totally appalled by what Gunther did to McAfee. In parentheses, coming after an announcer like that? That's like someone coming after you, Dave. Very, very similar, Mike. I agree. I'm waiting for an ex-world champion to come strolling in here and putting me in a sleeper hold any day now. He continues, I'm trying to figure out, during that scrum, were some of those people jumping in from the stands? It really looks like it. And during the choke out, the camera kept panning away from a bunch of those people. And then he says, as an aspiring ring security attendant, I ask for your take. Mike, a couple of things. One, get Peacock. Two, excellent recall. And I even said it in the old in the wrestling chat that I've been forced into that I absolutely mostly love. So thank you. I know Scott listens to the show apparently, but thanks to Andrew as well and Scott for getting me into this chat with my buddy Jeff as well, and then a bunch of people I don't know. It was a blast all weekend long. Like legitimately, it was fun as hell. So thank you. But yes, I did mention again that I'm an aspiring ring security attendant. I don't think anyone was jumping in from the stands. It certainly didn't look that way. But man, did McAfee take a bump? Holy fuck! Like Gunther had that thing cinched. That was cinched in. Actually, you know what though? And here's the thing: maybe somebody did jump in from the stands because his buddies from his show were in like the front row. So how funny would it be if like Darius Butler, Patriots legend, jumped over the barrier, ran over, and was trying to get Gunther to stop choking out his boss? It would have been funny. I mean, honestly, if the camera was like moving away, panning away from those people, but I'm telling you, like anybody who looks at those guys and doesn't scream, "Oh my God, I want that job," you're a fool. It is the penultimate acting gig. You stand there and you feign disgust for everything that's going on while at the same time like trying to be a tough guy and like breaking people up. Oh, it looks so much fun. Adult Make a Wish. That would absolutely be mine. But I want that as a job. I want that to be a job. Like I would love to just be one of those people in an ill-fitting suit, like running out, feigning disgust, and then like yelling and pointing. I would not be able to contain myself. Like legitimately, I would laugh the whole fucking time. Oh, it would be just so joyous and it would be the most like fun thing that's ever happened in my life. Oh man. So listen, fucking pro wrestling is real, motherfuckers. Fun weekend, loved it. It was great. Um, in the grand scheme of the show, like it wasn't the best. It wasn't the best WrestleMania I've ever seen. Sure as shit wasn't the worst. I'd give it a solid B. You know, B minus B. Let's call it B because there was a lot in there. One thing I didn't mention though was uh Logan Paul, AJ Styles. That match was not good, right? And then you had Karrion Cross in the after show with a world class promo. World class. Oh, just fucking so good. So good. I need that guy to get pushed. He won't. But he kept calling AJ Styles Allen, and that was so fucking great. The name Allen in and of itself is just so like derogatory in the context. Oh man, it was so fucking awesome. I loved it. Like it felt like just old school shit, like attitude era type stuff. Even though, everything now is very fucking not quite PG, but I don't know. If they say shit on Netflix, everyone's like, "Whoa!" Well, someone said an F bomb. Whoa! All right, I've given you 30 solid minutes of wrestling. I will put the warning in the episode for those who don't care. And I really don't want the show to devolve into a wrestling podcast. A wrestling podcast in and of itself, would not be interesting because it's done by 50 billion people. It would be fun for the people doing it, yeah, but nobody would fucking care. But on the flip side, nobody cares about this. So what the fuck is the difference, Dave? Nothing. Nothing. Anyways, let's move on and talk about some other stuff, shall we? All right, let's get into some other sports. Sports. Um, because I didn't get to talk about the Masters last week, I will talk about it briefly. I need to say, Rory McIlroy, good for him, but boy, did he back into that win. Ooh, he struggled on Sunday. Struggled. He struggled to start on Thursday. His first round was okay, second round good, third round great, fourth round on Sunday, championship round not so much. But I think it helped that Bryson, who he was playing with, was also not having a good day. So it probably made him feel a little bit more confident about the rest of the field, even though he could see what they were doing. Justin Rose was out of his fucking mind. And the fact that he did not win that tournament, honestly, I thought it was a shame. I was hoping he would win. Mainly, you got to root for the older guys. And he's what, 44? Not that old, but still. That his performance on Sunday, immense. And it's going to be forgotten because he lost, but he was fucking great. 66 he shot? 65, 66, can't remember which. But again, same thing, too many mistakes. And then Rory on 18 there, when he missed that putt, I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me, dude. But he must have been shitting his pants. That's the only thing I could think of, is that he was just so unbelievably nervous. And that's why he missed the putt. But then, the playoff hole, that second shot he hit was otherworldly. Now, he played like dog crap all day until that one shot. And that, honestly, that's redeeming, and it should be. Because in the face of a playoff against the hottest player of the day, he came out and hit a fucking phenomenal second shot, and that's what won him the tournament. So there you go. Good on him. Monkey off his back, if you will. Grand Slam winner. Which was, I mean, they talked about it ad nauseum, for Christ's sakes. It's like, all right, we get it. Fine, yes, all right, right. Well, he hasn't won a fucking major in 11 years, fellas. Let's settle down. Not the same guy. They all fall off now all of a sudden. They hit their mid-20s and it's like, whoop, let's enjoy fame more than, I don't know, playing golf and making money. They probably made money from being famous, but very Spiethian. I find Augusta National Golf Club to be a rather fascinating place, and I did a sort of, not quite a deep dive. I keep saying deep dives as if I'm doing deep dives regularly, but I'm not. Just, occasionally doing deep dives. But like, there were a couple of stories about Augusta and about how much money they could be making if they wanted to, and they choose not to, allegedly because they want to put on the best sporting event in the world. That's what the members of the board at Augusta National. That's their stance. That's their take. They want to put on the very best sporting event on the planet. And here's the thing, right? They don't need the money. They don't need to make a $500 million over the weekend. They don't. Because they just don't need it. And the fact that I'm told that they care more about the sport than money, it feels like I'm being duped, and I probably am. But I mean, the more I looked into it, the more I learned. They have such they have a vice grip level of control over this entire weekend. Not just what's going on the grounds, but like what's going out on the air. But I mean, on the grounds, they know basically where everybody is at all times. If you work for the media and you're covering the Masters, they know where you are at all times. Like, why they need to know that, I'm not sure, but they do. And they just, like, the level of control over the patrons, fans, they're patrons. They're not allowed to bring any chair with an armrest. And I couldn't find out why. Gotta be a reason, but I don't know. Um, they don't allow running. Like, you can't run at Augusta National. Like, what an old white guy rule. No running. And the amount of, like, the merchandise they sell, it's a reasonable level. But they only sell merchandise once, and it's over the weekend on the grounds, and that's it. They'll make about 70 to $80 million in merchandise over the course of, well, the week, really. You think about it, I forgot about, like, the amateur stuff, the practice round, and all that shit. Only in-person attendees can buy. But I mean, how much of that shit is resold, right? Think about it. If I was lucky enough to go to the Masters, boy, I would fucking spend $1,000 in there and just buy a bunch of shit and resell it. You'd make a killing. Everybody knows about, like, the concessions and how cheap it is. So, like, their goal is not to make, again, like, it can't be. The goal cannot be to make money. And it makes me wonder if it's, like, baked in to, like, the charter at the club, like how they run this thing and how uh in what is expected of them to get back in return. But I mean, there's just so much weird secrecy. Like, the actual green jacket itself, nobody knows, like, how much this is. You get to keep it for a year, then you got to bring it back. It goes in your locker. But there are so few lockers now that you have to, like, share with other past winners, which is kind of weird. Uh, let's see, what else? Yeah, I don't care about that. Number of presidents. Yeah, Dwight Eisenhower. That's why it's called the Eisenhower Cabin, is because it was built because he played so much fucking golf over the course of 8 years. 29 times. 29 over 8 years, which ain't a lot. But that's the number of times he played Augusta. Hence, Eisenhower Cabin. Don't let our current president find out about this little tidbit, or he'll be trying to angle his way into a Trump cabin, and he'd probably get it. Uh, let's see. Augusta does not make CBS and ESPN pay a media rights fee, giving it to them for free in exchange for full and complete control. How fucking crazy is that? It's nuts. Many golf clubs, this is one of the more interesting tidbits here. Many golf clubs across the country are registered as nonprofits, but Augusta is a for-profit corporation. They give up the tax benefit, but in exchange, they get a shit ton of privacy. They do not have to share their member list, their income, holdings, expansion plans, anything. And apparently they value that privacy more than a potential tax benefit. It's fucking wild to me. And it just makes the whole event, I think, like that much more fascinating. There's a story I just read the other day about a woman who owns a house that's a stone's throw from the golf course, and they've offered her millions for this property, and she refuses to sell. She's like an old lady; she just loves it there. But they keep expanding, buying, 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 and they're not like they haven't succeeded yet. But I mean, they've over the course of the last 25 years, they've managed to almost double in size, like the actual physical footprint. Wild. Anyways, I got way off topic with that, but anyways, good tournament, huh? What else? We talk about soccer, but you know, the Champions League's kind of dull-ish, even though Arsenal's probably going to win the whole fucking thing, which is just annoying. Declan Rice is suddenly people are finally starting to wake up how fucking awesome Declan Rice is, and I said this on the show before they sold him. At least I think I did. Like we only made 85 million off of that sale. It should have been double. That's how fucking good the kid is, and he was only getting better. And then he goes out and hits two world class free kick goals, and now everyone's waking the fuck up and realize how good this kid is, and he dominates games. Dominates. Rodri won the Ballon d'Or last year before. Best midfielder on the planet. I'm not so sure anymore. Declan Rice is so fucking. He just controls the game from the midfield by himself because he's smart, he's good, he elevates everyone around him, and it fucking pisses me off to no end that he left. Here's the thing I don't understand, and I've said this too. It's like in any sport, right? If you want to like build your legacy, wouldn't you want to do it at a place that's like new, different, and not the same old bullshit, right? Wouldn't you want to be wouldn't you want to create something, create an entire legacy? If you as a player of a certain stature level lifted up an entire franchise, club, team, whatever, to new heights and won. Like honestly, that like look what Tom Brady did. Tom Brady took a New England Patriots franchise that was middling at best and stuck around. He stuck around, built his brand. His brand became massive, unbelievably massive. Meanwhile, getting paid not nearly to the same level that other quarterbacks would have been paid because he valued winning and building a legacy more than anything else. And now look at him. Now he's a mediocre color guy for Fox Television, making $37 million a year. He also is part owner of a soccer team and an NFL team and a fitness brand and a bunch of other crap that wouldn't have been possible if he had left. Let's say he left the Patriots after his first contract. So 10 years in New England, won 3 times and left. Who knows where he would have gone? Let's say he goes to the 49ers. Who the fuck's going to say that he would have won anything in San Francisco? So now he's just a guy. Now he's just a good quarterback, right? At least that's what I think. That's what I'm telling myself. Anyways, Declan Rice, what the fuck? West Ham stinks. The best part about this season is that there are 3 teams, just 3 teams, that are infinitely worse than us. And because of that, we're going to stay up. That's the only reason we're not going down. The only reason. We are so fucking abysmal, and we shouldn't be because we're talent laden. But we had our angry German striker the other day come out and say that the team was a bunch of fucking soft assholes, which was Delightful. Hopefully that continues. However, also soccer. Boston being the city of champions continues because there was a World Soccer tournament held in South Africa last weekend before, I can't remember what, but it was women's over 50. And guess who won? The New England Breakers out of Boston, Mass. So the dominance continues. Congratulations to the New England Breakers of the women's over 50 soccer tournament. Huzzah. Get that fucking banner drawn up and stick it at Logan Airport with the rest of them. They finally got the two rugby banners up there not too long ago. We need to fill that again. We need to start another row of banners at Logan Airport so that people can come in and see it and then get angry like they do about Boston for some weird fucking reason. It's like, listen, it's a good place to live. It's expensive as all fucking hell. And there are tons of little angry people all over the place, but fucking hell, no other place I'd rather be except for Portugal. That is mediocre coffee. Yeah. What else? Celtics. I'm reserving my Celtics thoughts until after the first round because I'm nervous. Bruins stink. That's done. Red Sox are mediocre but playing better, so that's good. Hey, how about this? Trevor Story. Honestly, buddy, get fucked. Get absolutely fucked. All right? Contract year. All of a sudden playing good. First 3 seasons here, he was literal dog shit. Now all of a sudden he's good. Shocking. God, I fucking like. This is the problem with baseball. This fucking guy, he got a hangnail he would sit out over the course of the last 3 years. Played 168 games in 3 seasons. Asshole. Now he's leading the league in hits and leading the league in OBP and a bunch of other shit. Like, fuck off. God, it's just, aggravating to no end. Uh, what else did I want to talk about? Oh, the draft. One of my favorite things in the world. As someone who fucking does not follow college football, I love the draft because that's when I get to talk. I get to read articles from people who aren't playing, and may have not played at all. Talk about these guys in such a fashion that it's almost embarrassing. This whole Will Campbell thing, his arms are 32 and 7/8 inch long. What? Never in all my days have I heard such a thing where 1/8 of an inch, which is a disputed 1/8 of an inch, mind you, because apparently at pro days, his pro day 33 inches, the combine 32 and 7/8. Because of that combine measurement, that's all we fucking heard about for the last month and a half, is how short his arms are. This motherfucker was the best left tackle in the SEC, which is by far the best conference in college football. Played on a decent team, and every week was playing against guys that could possibly be first round talent defensive ends every week. And he was a two-time All-American, two-time All-SEC, started fucking 30 some odd games in a row, something fucking stupid. The kid's a left tackle. Draft him. And you know what else? He's fucking pissed off. You know why he's pissed off? Because people are telling him that he can't play because his arms are 1/8 of an inch too short. Fuck that. I hope Vrabel drafts this kid and like tells him all the time about his short arms. Remind him constantly so that he gets fucking angry and mauls people. That's what I want. Give me that. Stop fucking around. I don't want this kid from Missouri who's not a left tackle. I don't want you fucking around with this crap. Stick the fucking kid at left tackle and he'll be there for 10 years. Problem solved. End of story. The rest of the draft, Who cares? This is a historically mediocre draft. You have two, scratch that, 1.5 world class NFL players. You've got Travis Hunter, who is going to be, as long as he stays healthy, an absolute stud. And then you've got Abdul Carter, who I'm not sold on for a couple of reasons. Apparently, he thinks he's fucking God's gift to football, which is weird. But I could be wrong. A little beat up, but he could end up being like a Micah Parsons. And if you get Micah Parsons out of the deal, you're fine. That's a win. But that's it. Everybody else is a B player, which is fine because you aren't going to have A players 1 to 55 on your roster. You need those B players. You need those C plus players to fill the roster. That's what this draft should be for the Patriots. Is you're looking to fill the roster with bodies who can actually play. This is a depth draft. That's what you need. I would not begrudge them for making trades to stockpile more picks, whether it's this year or next. Hopefully, it's both. I don't see them trading out of 4 because I don't think anybody's going to come up for anything. But if they do, I'd take the call. Sure, let's move. What are you giving me? Like, ask for more. Take a 1, 2, and 3. Like, I don't know. It's not imperative that you draft at 4, right? It's also not imperative that you take Will Campbell. There are other left tackles in this draft that could start for you. Are they going to be, 10-year starters? But you know what you've got? You probably have a plethora of Matt Lights. I shouldn't say that because Matt Light sucked. El Matador. Ole! I like saying that he sucked even though he wasn't really that bad at all. I just find it amusing. I once got into a Twitter beef with his wife, which again, to this day is still hilarious. But look, don't overthink these things. And I'm really hoping that Vrabel actually just get the picks right. Just get guys that can play for you from rounds 1 to 7. Guys that can play for you this year. Next year, worry about next year. But for this year, you need filler. You need depth. And that's what this draft should be about. Yeah. Anyways, I think that'll do for this segment. I have some other stuff that I wanted to discuss. I was going to talk about tariffs, but I'm like, ugh, do I really want to do that? Probably not. But yeah, sit on that. All right, good news. I have 4 voicemails. 3 from a number 1 voicemail complainer, Mike, and 2, I'm sorry, 1 from an old friend that is wrestling related that I probably should have played earlier, but I didn't. So guess what? More wrestling talk. Maybe not. Maybe not entirely. But let's go. Let's get started. Huh? Shall we?
Hey, Dave, your good friend Mike here. I have my oldest son here, and he would like to tell you some of the middle school lingo that's making its rounds, just to educate you.
Bruh.
Give me a couple.
Like skibbity, sigma, I don't know.
If you can go after the girls, you have.
Average.
And then, what else? Ohio.
That was last year.
What about Sigma? He's so Sigma.
Yeah.
And then what were they yelling at the Minecraft movie?
Chicken Jackie.
Chicken Jackie.
Okay, that's so cringy.
All right, he's cringing out. I gotta go.
All right, so first and foremost, Mike and his poor kid. Please, Michael, why would you subject your child to this nonsense? And he was put on the spot. That's unfair. That is terrible. And then to top it off, he didn't really give us anything, so there was no substance there at all. I was hoping for like a rundown of middle school slang, and I got nothing. I got Riz, which I knew about. Like Riz is old at this point, and if he's still using Riz, what a fucking loser. Riz, get out of here. All set with that one. What the fuck is Ohio? Like I'm gonna have to Google that one. But the big thing there was this chicken jockey nonsense, and I don't understand the Minecraft thing. Like that's again, I am so far outside of the target demo there for a multitude of reasons, but I don't get it. And I've watched numerous videos, and apparently the whole thing is that just Jack Black yells chicken jockey, and it's funny. Which, if you just take it out of context, sure, it's funny. I'm sure in context. They made Jason Momoa look fat in that movie, and if I'm Jason Momoa, I'm kind of pissed. Like, what are you doing? Why am I fat in this movie? But yeah, look, Mike, next time you force your son to participate in this garbage, tell him to be prepared. Poor kid. Why would you do that? That's just mean.
David, Michael here. I remembered what I had mentioned in one of my deleted calls, and that was that I too very much so enjoy my whiskey neat. But I feel like when you go to a bar or you're in a social setting, when you're not in your armchair and you're not able to sense all the tasting notes, that it's better to have it on the rocks, on a nice big rock, so that you can kind of milk the drink for a little while. And had a complaint, and that complaint is what I think is the source of all letdown, which is unnatural expectations. When you think something is going to be better than it is, and it turns out worse, which a lot of times it does, that leads to letdown. And that brings me to my next complaint, which is these lousy bum Red Sox. For the first time in a while, I've been tuning in. Got the Nesson stolen from my in-laws so I can log in and just watch this garbage team try to field the ball, looking like my my little league kid, the fat kid on my son's little league team who can't field the ground ball. So anyways, that's a complaint. I wish it was more exciting. I wish there was more to get excited about, but I don't think it's happening. But anyways, I really hope this doesn't get deleted because I feel like this is important stuff here.
Well, Mike, it's moderately important. So that's good enough. And no, I mean, I don't like a nice big rock in my drink, so it gets all watered down. There are some I I shouldn't honestly for bourbon. Uh, I don't mind it watered down because I'm not as I've mentioned, I'm not the biggest bourbon guy. So I need something to kill that bourbon burn, I guess. So rocks in bourbon, fine, but even then, not too much because I'm there to taste the brown water, not just water, you know. But you did ramble a bit here, where you talked about a bunch of different things in one single phone call. You mentioned the Red Sox not being able to field. That's still a given. I talked about them earlier. Yeah, the defense is fucking trash. Hot, hot garbage. And it's going to fuck them at some point, if it hasn't already. In a key spot, that fucking fraud shortstop is going to kick a ball into left field or something and cost them a run and cost them a game. Also, I take offense to you calling that portly child on your son's little league team fat. I don't like that. Who's to say he can't field a ground ball? I beg to differ. I bet he can. He's probably just in the wrong position. You know who I blame? The coach. You know, he could have ankle problems, so he's not able to shift from side to side if he's playing, say, shortstop, which he probably isn't. But if he's a fat kid, he should be playing first base. That's it. He's not fat. He's chubby. So I hope you take that back. Leave the poor kid alone. Um, yeah, that's all I've got on this one.
Oh, and I remembered another thing that I was talking about that was, quote, deleted, unquote. Didn't show up on your Google. CDs. I canceled my Sirius XM. I'm listening to CDs. I busted out all my CDs. I'm listening to Moby. I'm listening to Jock Jams. I got all the good stuff. I got all the Metallica CDs. Saint Anger is not that bad. It really isn't. And the quality sounds better of the audio. You can't tell me otherwise. You pop in a CD, maybe I'll even go get a visor holder, find one of those. I mean, that's freedom right there. I'm saving $30 a month from Sirius XM. And I mean, it's good stuff. I highly suggest this. Just pop in a CD and, listen to an album from beginning to end. And hey, man, that's freedom. That's living. Back to the 90s, baby.
What's this quote unquote thing? You think I'm purposely skipping over content? Have you not learned by now with this program, Michael? That's not how that works. I beg for content, and you provide it. So the last thing I'm gonna do is not play your fucking calls. So I wasn't deleting anything. That's hurtful. You know what else is hurtful? You must have been the only person paying $30 a month for Sirius. The running gag with SiriusXM is that every time the price changes, you just call them and tell them that you're going to cancel, and then next thing you know, you're paying $6 a month. I think my wife's done that 7 or 8 times. $30 a month. I would never in my life would I pay unless I was a long haul trucker. That's the only time I would ever spend $30 a month on Sirius XM radio. And even then, I would contemplate doing what you're doing, going back to CDs. Now, look, in the Honda Fit Click for Life, by the way, there's a CD player. So I still have the CD book in the car with some CDs. The downside is I don't really drive that far ever. So, the only time I'll ever play the CD is if I have a longer drive, which is, 10, 15 minutes as opposed to 5. But yeah, CDs are in there, and I'm with you, dude. You got to think about when was the last time anybody in this current generation listened to an entire album beginning to end, and do they even know what an album is? But man, no, I think you're good. You're onto something there. And as most things are quite cyclical, vinyl is a thing again. A lot of people, but the problem is what you're getting. People are listening to vinyl, but it's all vinyl that they're buying at Target. So it's a lot of Taylor Swift, it's a lot of Sabrina Carpenter, it's a lot of crap like that. Basically, that's the kind of vinyl that you're getting currently, right? I need a new turntable. I have my father's old turntable, but it's not even his old turntable. It was a replacement turntable that he purchased, and it's just not good. The downside too is I have his record collection, but I'm fairly certain most of it is warped, which is not good either. Because I would like to go back to listening to some vinyl. The thing of it is though, you have to be able to just get up and flip the thing over. Whereas with a CD, you just pop it in, you're playing it, and you get beginning to end. You get the secret tracks at the end of 4 minutes after the end of the last song, which was always fucking cool as hell. When you discovered the secret track, you're like, "Fuck yeah! What is this? It's not even in the track listing. Oh my god!" Then you got to sit there, listen to it over and over again, write down the lyrics so that you don't fuck it up. You know, eventually you could do that, and also consult the internet, like that awesome video of the dude walking into, I don't know if he was in a library or what. It's like, I just need the lyrics for the new REM. Really? Tick, 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 tick. Here it is. That's the sound of the printer. Printing out the lyrics to the new REM album. Yeah, man. Back to the 90s. Let's go. I dream of that daily, going back to the 90s. Well, thank you as always, Michael. That was great. Appreciate it. Although Moby, ugh, the hell are you doing?
Yo, Dave, this is Scooter Flair here. It's been a long time here, my friend. What I want to talk about real quick is I'm live watching WrestleMania, which I'm sure you are too, right? Great match, by the way, between Charlotte Flair and the lovely Tiffany Stratton. Wow. That front tooth gone? Another hole. Love it. Anywho, so let's talk about the first match, and this is my complaint. There's no fucking way in hell in life that Jey Uso would choke out Gunther in like 4 seconds. I have a major problem with that, and it started off the show wrong, and that's my fucking complaint. All right, buddy. Later.
Shout out to longtime friend of the show, Scott. Thank you so much. Here's the thing. The Scooter Flair thing, I'm out. It's an inside joke that I'm not a part of, and I don't understand. So I'm going to need an explanation. Thank you. Anywho, when you called, yes, I was watching, and I agree wholeheartedly on your last point. I'll get to the first point in a second. That Jey Uso win was not great. Now, the match itself was fine, but like for Gunther to tap 4 seconds into a chokehold tells me one of two things. One, he's not used to doing a job like that, so his brain did not process how long he had been in the chokehold. Two, he was pissed that was the script, that he would be tapping out to Jey Uso, that he's like, fuck it, I'm going 4 seconds, tap, tap, tap. Because I was shocked. I was shocked that it was that quick. And Scott's right. No way in fucking hell is Jey Uso tapping him out in 4 seconds. That's just because it ruins the mystique a little bit of Gunther. And I think the fact that what happened on Monday when he came out and beat the shit out of fucking McAfee kind of tried to get a little bit of that back, right? Even though he's beating up a fucking commentator for some weird reason. He put hands on Michael Cole, which is a no-go. No-go. Like, you can't do that. But then for Michael Cole to, like, bow up and be like, you tapped out. Like, whoa. Settle down, Cole. Settle down. So I'm with you 1,000% on that. Your first point. Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton. It was fine. The match was fine. I thought Stratton showed up, wrestled well, and held her own against Charlotte Flair, who used to be much better. Now she's slowed way down because of numerous injuries and way too much plastic surgery. Good fucking grief, ma'am. Like, enough. Like, every time you get surgery on a knee doesn't mean you need another fucking nose job or your chin fucking shaved down or something. Like, enough. You look terrible. Ghastly. It's not good. Like, she used to be moderately attractive, even though she looked way too much like her father. Now it's like, oof, what the fuck have you done? It's not good. But here's the thing, right? Tiffany Stratton is not ugly by any stretch of the imagination, right? But boy, these marks fucking love Tiffany Stratton. Love. I mean, like, settle down. All right? Again, attractive young lady. But I mean, over the top attractive? No. Honestly, most of these wrestlers over the years have not been like world-class beauties by any stretch of the imagination. Stacy Keibler, probably at the top of the Mount Rushmore, if, no, not Mount Everest of piles and piles of these fucking broads. And then like front tooth gone, another hole. Outstanding work, Scott. Nicely done. That was good. Says very little about you if you're excited about that hole. So condolences. As someone who is hung like a swollen tick, condolences to you if that's exciting to you. That tooth hole. Good stuff. Call again soon. More wrestling takes. That's what I think we need. Let's make this a pseudo wrestling podcast, which would be offensive to most people, to be fair. But it is what it is, right? Yeah. All right. I wanted to talk about one of my favorite things is advertising. And again, as I've stressed numerous times over the years, being a wannabe ad man, I find advertising to be interesting because the whole point of advertising is sales, right? And so you want to make sure that your ads are solid enough and convey enough information that is going to convince the general public to buy your product. That's the whole point, right? Right? There have been two radio commercials of late. Now, when you listen to the radio as much as I do, I listen to the Sports Hub often. Not nearly as much as I used to, mainly because my commute time is now measured in minutes as opposed to anything beyond that. So it's not a daily listen. Like today, for example, I'm home. I'm in the palace. I'm not going to listen to the radio at all today, but I listen to it enough. During the work week, sometimes if I'm out, like if I go leave the office and walk to the grocery store for lunch or something, I'll pop on the Sports Hub app and listen to that. But that's neither here nor there. I find advertising to be fascinating because of its level of commitment to try to convince people to buy product, right? But the problem is, especially now, so much advertising is nothing but filler. It just occupies time. And that's literally all companies are doing is they're buying time, but then they're ineffectively filling said time with garbage. Case in point, there was a fucking ton of ads during WrestleMania, okay? And if you weren't paying for like the gold package of Peacock or whatever the fuck it is. At least I think. I don't even know. I don't know if that exists. But they would always like between matches be like, "Oh, we're going to now, here's the story of this match." But then it didn't go to that. It went to a shit ton of ads. So I mean, on any given like between match thing, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 ads. This was after uh, I want to say like after the first match on Sunday. And that doesn't really include all the drop-in ads, all the ad reads that Michael Cole did. I mean, there's just so much. Like this is the kind of shit that probably gives Vince McMahon like this might piss him off more than anything else is like the number of ads on the mat in the ring because he never did that. That was like Vince's big thing. He's like, that is sacred. We're not going to sully it with advertising. But now you've got seven ads on the mat itself, four on the buckles on in each corner on the buckles. There's different companies. The ring corner posts has an ad. The ringside boards have an ad, and then there's the fucking prime card. It's like the fucking marketing department at WWE just fucking took a massive shit all over camera front ring whole area. I don't even know what that was supposed to mean, but yeah. And it's diarrhea of advertising. That's all it is. And so the number of ads that you got, like again, just kind of using that example. So it was like the Nintendo Switch, right? Was one, which was an absolutely brilliant fucking ad. Why? Because it was recalled to like 1991 with Paul Rudd doing a Super Nintendo commercial. But then he's now in this, Nintendo Switch 2, which they really should have called Nintendo Super Switch or Super Nintendo Switch. That's what they should have called it. But again, what do I know? I'm a fat prick with a shitty microphone in a shed. That's what I am. But then after that, it's like a Peacock ad, Wingstop, Universal, The Accountant 2, an ad for that everyone's all fucking got a boner about. Ooh, Xfinity again. So much fucking Xfinity. You know what the worst part about it is? Is the purple. Who who told Xfinity that purple was a good fucking color? It stands out. That's the only reason for it, but ooh, it's gross. Subaru, BetMGM, great fucking commercials. Like Jamie Foxx, I still chuckle at those Jamie Foxx ads. All these seats. Really? That's hilarious. And then Walmart Plus. Like there was just so much garbage. And the only reason I know this because I wrote them all down. Because I wanted to make sure that I was being mindful. But it was like then it was repetitive, right? You got a bunch of repetitive ads. Like there was a BetMGM ad in every ad space for WrestleMania. Every ad space, so multiple ads, there was a BetMGM ad. And then there was the ad reads, like I mentioned, which corresponded with the sponsor of the match. Every single match had a fucking sponsor. Really? Like honestly, it's so gross. It's become like it's nauseating. But the worst part, right, is when you have a product and you're pushing a product that is not sort of like a mainstream thing, okay? And two ads specifically that I started this rant on that I heard on the radio. One was Nugenics, two was Metamucil. All right. Now, these are ads for products that are, they're known, but they're not, I don't know, Metamucil's for the elderly, and Nugenics is for weak men. Those are facts. I'm sorry. My testosterone is fucking perfect. So fuck you assholes that have low T. All right? The Metamucil one, okay? The ad is two women talking, and they're playing tennis, allegedly. And you hear one like frustratingly, I assume, swinging a tennis racket. She's like, "Oh God!" And then on the other one, "Why can't you? Why aren't you playing well? Usually, you're moving much faster." She's like, "Oh, I'm so sluggish. Oh, I feel so full." And then the other broad's like, "You should try Metamucil." It's like, oh boy. So, after that, then you hear, then you hear a ball hitting a tennis racket. And then the woman's like, "Oh, I feel so good." So in other words, she took the Metamucil, the fucking 3 pounds of shit that were stuck inside of her came out, right? And now she can move at a level that is acceptable to her friend while on the tennis court. This is the sort of ad that, the suits are like, "Boy, here's a good idea. Let's talk about two women playing tennis. One of them's literally full of shit. But all they need is this chalky ass fucking wheat fiber mixture that tastes like oranges. Once she tastes that, fucking clean as a whistle." But here's the thing, right? How is that effective in selling the product? Okay? You're putting your characters of the ad in a place that is not relatable. Like, how many people are going to be playing recreational tennis and then suddenly stop because they haven't shit for 3 days? If you haven't shit for 3 days, you're not playing recreational tennis. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I don't do either. I don't not shit for 3 days, and I don't play recreational tennis, so I just don't know. Maybe I'm missing something. But here's the thing, okay? Why wouldn't they just have like a simple explanation of what the product is, or somebody explaining what the product is? You could have, a person come on the radio and say, "Hey, I have not shit for 3 days. What should I do?" And then a friend say, "You know what you should try? Metamucil." And then come back and say, the other guy be like, "Hey, how'd the Metamucil go?" "Terrific. I shit my brains out the other day, and now I feel great." Now, obviously, that's not how it would go, but you get my point, okay? Redevelop the ad, make it so that you're actually explaining the benefits of the product. Put it in a doctor's office, for example. "Hey, doc, I'm not feeling so great. I haven't used the bathroom in a few days. What do you think I should do?" "Well, maybe try Metamucil." And then the voiceover goes, "Metamucil with X percentage of fiber, number of grams. Take as directed. Examples in this commercial do not necessarily reflect real life situations." And then it comes back 6 months later. "So, how are you feeling?" "Doc, I feel great. I took your advice. I used the Metamucil, and now I am shitting regularly." End of ad. Look at that. Look at that. Like, for a product like that, you can't try to be cute and funny. It doesn't resonate with people. All it does is get fat nobodies like myself to complain about it. On the flip side of that is Nugenics. This fucking snake oil that's been sold for years to unsuspecting, middle-aged, fat, out of shape Minnesota sweat hogs taking this shit to try to fuck their wife or their husband. I don't know. Maybe dudes that like dudes need a boost in the bedroom. What would be like a. Well, like that doesn't make sense, but I'm going to say it anyway. What would be a gay version of Nugenics? What would you call it? I'm off topic. Anyway, these ads have been around forever. And Frank Thomas has probably made like $1.50 or so pitching this crap for years. Like presenting himself as a dude who needs a boost in the bedroom. And it's just like, you look, anybody who's listening to this has heard one of those ads, so you know what it is, right? It's a dude talking to another dude, and then like the other dude's like, "You should try Nugenics." "What? What's that?" And then you get the voiceover, "Nugenics, the number one over the counter testosterone booster." Even though it's not. It's just a bunch of horny goat weed. And what's the other one? Lenny? I can't remember what it is. But anyways, just take a fucking blue pill, blue chew, Cialis, Viagra. Take that shit. If you want to fuck your wife, that's the stuff you take. No offense to you. But it's like I'm waiting. Like I'm waiting for a Nugenics ad where it's like, and it helps in the bedroom, and then it goes to like a bedroom scene, and the dude's like, like finishing, uh, finishing on his wife's face, and then he leans back and he's like, "Oh, thanks, Frank Thomas," and holds up a bottle of Nugenics. Boom, that's an ad. That's a fucking world class ad. That's what that is. Settle in with that one. Yeah. Like the whole thing with him, with like the guy, the guy like leaning back, he's bald, uh, he's shirtless, sweating, holding up the bottle of Nugenics. "Thanks, Frank Thomas." And then it cuts to Frank Thomas and he's like, "What? What? What the fuck?" I make myself laugh. Anyways, look, it's the end of the show. End of this very long episode. This was a long one. And if you've lasted this long, you can thank Nugenics. It's time for 3 gripes. Gripe number 1, this AI action figure thing. What? Like, you don't think whoever or whatever is making those isn't using your image somehow when you share your image with this app or with this website? And again, like, you can accuse me of being, um, I don't know, like reactionary or nervous or whatever when it comes to this thing. I think like AI as like an assistant of some kind is useful, but AI for anything more than that, I find it to be awfully troubling. And I heard a really great podcast the other day with Hank Azaria. You know Hank Azaria, man of a million voices, every Simpsons character basically, talking about like eventually for roles like that, he's not going to be necessary. It's all going to be fucking AI and it's going to suck because you can see through it. It's going to be 5, 10 years before it's actually useful in that sort of format or medium. But like AI as, being used as like a super Google, like honestly, that's the only benefit I find of it. And quite honestly, it's not that great yet. Every time I Google something now on my phone, the fucking top results is fucking AI. And it's like, I don't want this. This is not what I want. You know what I want at the top of the page? Like if I'm typing in the name of a hotel, you know what I want at the top of the page? The website for the fucking hotel. I don't want to have to scroll through all your AI shit, all your sponsored crap, and then finally get to what I'm looking for. But anyways, this action figure thing that's been all over the Instagram, um, it's not that funny, first and foremost, right? There's been a couple that have been, somewhat humorous, but for the most part, it's been just kind of trite and overplayed at this point. It was probably overplayed after the first one. But boy, why are stupid people so willing to give up a semblance of self, whether it's your voice, your face, whatever, your name? Why are you so quick to give that up for a quick hit of dopamine? And look, I get it. A lot of people will say shit like, oh, I don't care, or Dave, it's funny. And both of those points can be true, but it can also be true that anything AI just shouldn't be trusted yet at this point. But man, too many of you fucking idiots just love giving shit up. Like, do you have zero sort of self respect? I don't know. Is that a bit extreme? Maybe. But like, why? It's not at all important. And it's over in literally 30 seconds. You hand over something to someone, you don't know where that's going. You don't know who's using that. You don't. And if you need that, like here's the other thing, right? If you need AI to like replace anything in your life, that's a problem. That's a you problem. And you need to fucking sit down and settle that on your own. Ooh, wow. Gripe number 2, more AI. Here's the other thing with AI, okay? And obviously this is like numerous gripes wrapped into two. But like the AI videos that came out that were allegedly like a Chinese response to the tariffs and to like the president saying that this was going to be made in America. And it's just a bunch of fucking fat people in factories. Like they were hilarious. But then it got to thinking, like, where's the American response to that? Like, where's the fucking xenophobic American response talking about what's going on in China? Which here's the other problem. Most Americans think that China is this weird, backwards, everybody in chains, working in sweatshops when it's the complete opposite of that. China is so much like America, it's not even funny. But the vast majority of Americans who complain about China know nothing about China. There you go. But like, I would have thought that somebody would come out with like a clever AI video of what they think China is or China would be. But except China is not stupid. and until we sort of figure that out, like we're going to be in trouble because China does not need us. I hate to break it to you. We need China way more than China needs us, and they've already proven that. So, yeah, so there's that. That has nothing to do with AI. I mean, I guess it does kind of because they've come up with their own fucking AI shit. And then everybody that has AI here, all these American AI companies get all up in arms when the Chinese come out with something better. Oh my God. The day, though, that MAGA makes like a clever AI video or anything at all funny will be the first. Just horribly unfunny people. It makes zero sense to me. But then again, it does. Oh, I have like some kind of cold brew. Uh, it's basically like a Starbucks cold brew blend. It doesn't work when you try to make it in like a drip coffee maker. I don't know. I mean, it tastes okay. And there's a cold brew setting on my coffee maker, but it just takes too long. I'm impatient. Anyways, gripe number 3, conspiracy theories. All right. Welcome back to the gripes, conspiracy theories. It's been a long time. I hope you're doing well. But this whole thing with the women going to space and Bezos's cock rocket, and then people saying that it's fake. Here's my issue, okay? Why do people think that if something doesn't happen to them specifically, that it's just not real? Like, just how fucking dense do you need to be? And they're talking, well, the door doesn't, supposed to go out and not in, or the other way around, something like that. Like, they just fucking went up to space and came back down attached to a parachute. And we're talking about the door, which way the door swings. Like, it's a TV moment. It's there for viral viewing. Um, it just hit, and again, and I've said this a billion times with any conspiracy theory. The fact that you would the sheer volume, the sheer large number of people that you would need to have involved in making that fake. And I'm using that as a recent specific example, right? Think about the number of people that work for Blue Origin, and then think about the number of people who were like there. The 7 people or so that were in the fucking capsule, you'd have to get all those fucking weak-minded assholes to think alike, and then to keep the story up for as long as they did. It's just like stop and think before you start, bloviating this garbage about this thing not being real. It wasn't that big of a deal, first and foremost. But to sit there and waste your energy and say that something like that wasn't real, I just can't figure out, like, what are you missing in your life that you need this bullshit to replace that hole? What is it? Because all you're doing is making yourself and far too many fucking people around you dumber. That's it. God, it's so frustrating to have to, like, this is what the world is now. Facts are no longer facts. Everything is fake. It's so fucking it's frustrating. And at what point do people start saying to themselves, "God, what are we doing? Why? What? Like, can't we just be fucking normal again?" And again, that's been my biggest thing over the course of the last 8 years. Make America normal again. Like again, and I want to go back to the fucking 90s when we didn't know shit, right? We didn't fucking know anything, and we were so much better. The internet ruined everything, and here I am talking into a microphone, recording shit that's going to go on to the internet. I have a lot of energy this morning. I'm back to doing some exercise, so I feel very good. My doctor, I had a physical a couple weeks ago. My doctor said to me, David, if you weren't fat, you'd be a a model of perfect health. Like legitimately. My blood sugar, nil. It's fucking perfect. My cholesterol, perfect. My blood pressure, slightly elevated, much better than it has been. Kidneys, great. Liver, great. Brain, he says it's great. I'm not so sure. So I got to get back into exercising. I got to lose some weight. I even asked the guy. I said, "Hey, like, what do you think about all these GLP-1s?" And he looked at me. He's like, "Dude, I would never be able to get that approved by your insurance." He's like, "If you want to pay $1,500 a month, have at it." Oh, because I belch into a microphone. He's like, everything is good. Like you would never get approved. You just need to not eat so much and walk. Like, oh, okay. Thanks. So things are good. I feel good. Feel good this morning for sure. Getting ready to fucking work. Yeah. Who the fuck knows how long that's gonna keep up? Work. But listen, if you sat through this whole thing, you are an absolute fucking saint. You probably didn't. My assumption is that you skipped through a lot of sections to get to three gripes to listen to me complain about AI. Soon enough, shit like this will be replaced by AI. Who the fuck knows? It's funny, the program that I use to record, they're like, oh, develop an AI summary. What? No. Like, I spend a ton of time building out fucking, I almost said scripts. It's not really a script, it's an outline. I don't need you to do it. Like, fuck you. I am on Instagram at Complaints Pod. I am on Twitter at Complaints Pod. I think I'm on Threads at Complaints Pod. Complaints and Observations on YouTube, apparently. 617-804-1557. Call in, tell your friends, complain, talk wrestling. If you want to talk wrestling, have at it. Let's go. And yeah, hopefully see you next week. I don't think I have anything next week that's going to prevent me from recording, but one can never tell. But that'll do. Listen, as always, I beg you, take care of yourself, and I also beg you, take care of each other. Godspeed, ta-ta.